Alrighty guys, hi, it's Amanda. I'm back for another video, a little bit different of a background, trying to utilize the natural lighting I have here. And I have a setup that's probably not super stable, so hopefully I don't accidentally hit anything and we go crashing down. In today's video, it wasn't really planned. I had been watching from the sidelines about another family vlogging channel called the 8passengers, and I had really been debating on whether or not it was something I wanted to discuss, because some of my opinions and my take on this situation are not really what I see as being popular opinions, but at the same time, like, I do want to not be afraid to vocalize different aspects of things going on. So there are some parts that everybody is talking about. This is a family of 8 with 6 children, a mom and a dad. I don't really plan on disclosing the children's names. I may reference their age, I'm not sure. And the parents, I'm probably just going to refer to as mom and dad. If you're watching this, you may already know what's going on with this family, and this is just another video that you're just trying to gather information from and maybe gather your own opinion. I am going to encourage, debates, healthy debates in my comment section. However, I don't want to allow any harsh, overly harsh hate towards the family or towards anybody else's opinion, including my own. Again, I am open to debates occurring, but they do need to be done healthily. So a little bit of background. This family has been on YouTube for several years. The channel seems to be primarily ran by the mom, and a lot of their channel is family vlogging, which has already been a controversial issue here on YouTube, especially lately, given the situation about the adoptive child. So this is a time where we are able, as creators, to bring awareness and maybe start change to happen within YouTube and within even maybe greater aspects, and having laws put in place for children who are being exploited by their parents. So the couple of things that a lot of YouTubers are talking about are about 3 or 4 incidents that have occurred within this family that they have put out on the internet. And with family vlogging, what I think we need to try and keep a perspective on is, yes, they are recording their lives. I don't agree that they're using their children, and we will discuss that a little bit further here in a moment, but we are not actually seeing their entire day. We're not seeing every behavior, everything going on in that family. We are not privy to. We're only privy to what they show, which is slightly concerning to me, given the situations that are kind of being brought up right now with this family in particular, and why people are concerned primarily about their oldest teenage son. And I can agree with where people are coming from. I do have, as I've mentioned in the past, professional history in child welfare. So I do know how these systems operate as far as when it comes to abuse and neglect and how things are kind of done. So I am going to try and tie that in a little bit to try and bring some education to how these things kind of work. So first off, I do want to discuss the points that everybody else is kind of covering, that are like big red flags to them to accuse this family of abusing and neglecting their children. Primarily what has been discussed would fall more under the neglect category than the abuse category. But some aspects are falling under abuse, because there is an aspect of abuse that's not a physical, you can't physically see it, and it's emotional abuse, which can, as most people can assume, is going to cause long-term mental health issues. If there aren't any pre-existing, it can start mental health issues to occur. It can cause deep-rooted issues inside an individual. And when you're growing up, that's when it is most able to affect you as an adult, especially if they go untreated. So I did just want to kind of touch on that a little bit. One of the big things that people are upset about is the wilderness camp, it wasn't a camp, it was a behavioral therapy camp that the parents sent their oldest son to. And reviewing other people's videos and this family's videos, I try not to watch their videos because I don't want to give them views. I don't want to subconsciously be encouraging them to continue exploiting their children by giving them views. So I have been trying to watch other videos that have either covered the topic or the channels that record the videos and then play them on their videos so we can watch it without giving the family the views. That's kind of where I've been pulling my information from. So they did send their son off to this behavioral camp that was out in the desert in Arizona. And in watching the videos, they mentioned a couple of times, well, not a couple, in one particular video I watched, they mentioned that the child chose this form of punishment, that he had been given 3 options. And in this video, they were trying to defend their choice, their parenting choice to discipline their child, and saying that he had a choice in 3 options. Well, since people are coming at them so hard about this, what I don't understand is if they're trying to defend themselves in their decision making, why did they not express what the options were? Why did they not give their viewers the option to see what this child had? They've already put everything else about this child and his discipline on the internet for everybody to judge. And I just don't see why they didn't do that, especially with all the backlash that they're getting in result of this. And people are not fully aware of what's going on in the household. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Her and the dad continue to push this narrative that their teenage son has had crazy behavioral issues, that they don't show everything, but they show some of it. And that's the problem with these family vloggers, is I feel like they are trying to somewhat be role models. I mean, aside from getting the monetary gain that they get from doing these videos, my question is, and I kind of want you guys to kind of tell me down below if you watch any family vloggers, and I'm not saying they're all bad. It's just unfortunate that in this last couple of weeks, we've had 2 rather large family vlogging channels come crashing down because people don't want to see innocent children being exploited. They don't want to see children being hurt or abused or being put in situations that they really can't control, because it's up to the parents at the end of the day. So what I want to know is, if you do watch these channels, what pushes you to watch them? Is it because they're relaxing? Is it because you maybe be a new parent and want to see how other parents are dealing with some type of behavior? What is driving you to watch these vloggers when they're just showing their children? Inherently, we don't think, when we click on a video of a family, we're not thinking, oh, because we're watching this child get punished or this child go through something embarrassing online. We're not even thinking of that aspect. We're just mindlessly kind of watching, unless you're going to it for a specific resource. And that's kind of what I want to know. Are people going to these channels for resource, for additional information, to see how maybe other families handled a situation? So that's a question I have for you guys, and I would really like it if you would maybe enlighten me a little bit and let me know what is driving you to watch these channels. That's just a side note. I really am interested in what is pushing people to do that. Another issue with this older son is, after he got back from the camp, the parents' information is kind of wishy-washy on if the child returned and didn't have a bed, or if he displayed poor behavior and as a punishment the parents took the bed. I've seen it both ways. I'm not going to try and judge. I do understand the parents providing discipline to their children. However, in this instance, it is mentioned in a video that the mom didn't even anticipate the son to say that he went without a bed for 7 months. That's asinine. And I can tell you from a professional aspect, although it sounds terrible, and it doesn't necessarily rise to a level where intervention can be had. Now, accumulating everything together, of course, it could, definitely, because there are other concerns that are pretty big, in my opinion. And I I don't understand why they punish their children, and they said for a minimum of 6 months. I don't see how they're getting that information or how that's actually going to be beneficial. I mean, I'd like to see a study on that to see if 6 months is a recommended time. I know when I was growing up and when I was misbehaving, because I was a behavioral issue when I was adopted, I wasn't grounded for 6 months. I would get grounded for poor behavior, and then I would get off of restriction, and then me just being in a bad mental state would again do something to get in trouble and again end up in restriction, so being grounded. So there were times when I was grounded for long periods of time, but that was at my own doing. It wasn't because I did one thing and then I'm grounded for 6 months. That's, to me, that is a cruel punishment. And it would be in the professional world, if I was working with this family, my question to the parents would be, why this long? What pushes you to think that this is an appropriate amount of time to punish a child? And I would hear their answer, and depending on what their answer was, we would go from there. That's just my take on that, and kind of trying to shed a little bit of light on how it would probably be in the professional sphere. I know there's a petition going on change.org about trying to get CPS out to the house. You can sign it if you want. I'm not encouraging that by any means. CPS typically works in a different manner. And I'm not going to disclose that in this video. I have mentioned it in other videos, but I'm not going to disclose it here because I know there's massive amount of hate about this family, and it is justified. I do understand it for sure. Another issue that people are really discussing is her youngest daughter and the issue with her lunch. She's had a video, I don't know if it was on Facebook or if it was on Instagram, but where she was actively communicating with the teacher. And the teacher stated that the child had not had a lunch and would like it if the mother would bring a lunch to her. Well, the mother's response to that was, well, it's her responsibility, so no, she can go hungry. I hope you guys don't feed her. Well, I can tell you now, the school's gonna feed her. They are. So if you're worried about the child not eating, if a child comes to a school and doesn't have food and the staff is concerned about their well-being, they are going to provide that child food. Sorry to that mom, but that's just how it is. The schools are mandated reporters, so they're going to care for a child because it would fall on them if this child ended up being malnourished and then it comes out to be, oh yeah, the school knew she wasn't feeding her kid or bringing her kid food and the school did nothing to intervene. So I can promise you the school would have fed the child even if the mother said not to, okay? So let's just kind of put that out there. But in tag with that, what bothered me is in a later clip, she said, she was saying that she had to go to a parent-teacher conference about this. Professionally, that is a huge red flag to me because schools will do as much as they can to understand the family dynamic before actually addressing it with the parents. So this has had to have been an ongoing or reoccurring issue for the school to feel the need to bring in the parents and address it with them. That is a big deal to me. That's a huge concern because it has to have been ongoing. It can't be a one-time thing to where they're gonna bring in the parents and discuss it. I mean, accidents happen. So most school officials aren't going to be accusatory. They're going to try and understand the situation. So that's a concern to me. A huge concern that the school felt it was necessary to bring in the parents and discuss the ongoing issue. And the mother's behavior around all of this is really what's questionable to me. She seems to have this level of entitlement for herself and states that, you know, she expects her children to uphold all these rules, which is fine. Everybody has parenting styles that are different. Some parents are more strict, some are more lenient, and that's fine. You can have your own parenting style, but what I don't understand is why she leads this entitlement and then her children don't get the same entitlement. I don't know if I'm making myself clear on that. So for example, she will video her children in embarrassing situations, covering topics that should not be on the internet that a child has to endure, and then not care that the children are telling her in that moment, I don't want you to film this. I don't want it to be uploaded. And the mom has the audacity to even be dumb enough to keep that in her video. My mind is just, I'm confused by that. You want to say you're a good parent. You want to say that you care for your children. You want to say that, they're your lives, and yet they are telling you they don't consent to this. What is your motivation to continue and just post it anyways? What's your opinion? You guys tell me your opinion. Why do you think she just ignores what her kids say and uploads the video? Let alone the topics she's uploading the videos of her children in. There are topics that this mother is making these children, and you can tell she's forcibly making them discuss topics that they don't want to discuss. And to me, it is even more of an issue because in this one video that's been deleted that has everybody riled up is she asked the children about not having friends. Or the children mention they have no friends. And the oldest teenage boy says he doesn't feel safe in having friends. As a parent, why is she not sitting there and asking, why don't you feel safe? Is it because she already knows the answer? Because the answer is probably going to be, well, because you upload everything about me that is embarrassing, me getting punished, me getting sent to a wilderness camp. I wouldn't feel safe in his situation to make friends either. I have had no privacy. My mom has uploaded everything about me to an extent that I'm afraid other people might not take me for who I am. That's another one of my big concerns about this whole situation is it seems that the children are crying for help and are trying to say something, and the mom just laughs it off. And in that video, when they're talking about him not having a bed for 7 months and going to the wilderness camp and everything like that, the mom is openly laughing like it's a joke to her. And then when he says something that she doesn't like, her face just drops. Like she doesn't know how to handle that. It is crazy. I don't understand these family vloggers that are doing this in an unhealthy way to their children. I know there's good family vloggers out there. I know there's ones that aren't exploiting their children and are trying to be educational. And I support those channels and I have no problem with that. There are even, you want to say family vloggers, but the family doesn't even really provide a whole lot of information about the children. They talk about situational things and maybe things that have happened, but they don't force their children to do this. That is where we need to see change, because these children in this particular family, in my opinion, are already being affected. I do believe that, these children are suffering from some form of negligence on their parents' behalf. They are obviously struggling, as we can see already, with everything the mom has put them through. And it begs the question, when is she going to stop? Like, she has addressed the fact that she's deleting comments. So she's not opening a healthy discussion to have. And I understand she's probably going to be getting a lot of hate and a lot of messages and comments that she doesn't want to see. However, when you're putting yourself out online, as I am with this video, kind of disagreeing with some aspects, I can see where she's probably not wanting to open herself up to that. However, you signed on for that. It is not fair to continue a narrative that you want to have pushed because you think you're a good parent. Nobody wants to accept the fact that they may be doing something incorrect in their parenting. Nobody. Nobody is going to openly admit, while it is ongoing, that they are making poor parenting decisions for their children. Nobody's going to do it. Typically, it takes a professional stepping in and addressing it with the family and trying to open their minds and how they've been parenting and how it could be affecting their children. They need to have that discussion. And my concern is, are these children even comfortable enough to have that discussion with their parents? Some of them are teenagers, so they are more aware. Are they afraid to maybe say something because their livelihood and how they've been able to live might be stripped away if they tell the truth? That's where my mind is going. If I were to work with this family in a professional manner that I have in the past, not this family, but I have worked in child welfare in the past, I'm trying to think of how I would approach a situation like this professionally. How would I go in and try and get the actual information from these children and from these parents? How would I question them? And a lot of those I've kind of brought up here. Like, I would want to really ask them questions that they would have to actually think and not be able to just deflect in a video or blame their viewers or their audience for having an opposing opinion. When you have a professional in front of you asking you, why are you doing this? Why is your punishment 6 months? Tell me what the benefit of 6 months is. Was it just one day that you punished one of your children for 6 months and the behavior changed? And are you sure the behavior even changed? I mean, that's my line of thinking in this whole scenario with this family. I would encourage you guys to not provide any hate towards this family. As I've mentioned in the beginning, and I'm going to reiterate, what we do have to keep in mind is this family is allowing themselves to be open for criticism. I agree. They are putting things out there that should not be put out there. I agree. They are exploiting their children. We can see that. I agree with that. I do not like that. But they are not providing everything to us, which is frustrating for me, because this mom continues to refer to behaviors in trying to validate herself in the choices that she has made for punishment for her children, and yet she doesn't provide the full picture. And I understand she doesn't have to. I get that. But with this much backlash, I can't help but question why. Is that actually even occurring? Or is she just using it to push this? Is she wanting the bad publicity? I doubt that, but it's a question I have. Is she choosing to edit and upload these videos in this manner just for the monetary gain? Does she think she's actually helping people? Does she think she's a role model? Does she think she's above everybody else? Does she think her parenting style is the best and everybody should follow it? And that's why she puts it out there. I don't know, guys. I really don't. This is just something, like I said, I was torn about discussing. However, it does kind of cover topics that I am aware of, both professionally and personally. So I kind of felt like I wanted to provide a little bit of information and get some discussion going. I know there's other videos out there that are providing more evidence and clipping in the videos and stuff like that. And I encourage you to watch those. Watch as many as you want before you formulate an opinion. Watch as many videos, whether it be from this family or it be from other creators or other people giving their opinion or their take on the situation. Get as informed as you can before you make a decision. And that's really why I waited to post this video. I've been debating it for a couple of days, kind of since everything broke, but the mom kept saying she was going to post a video, and she never did. Instead, she went on her Instagram, which does have fewer followers, and kind of ranted about her viewers and kind of blamed the viewers as being triggered. And she shouldn't say that lightly, because it might be triggering to somebody to see these behaviors. Maybe they have experienced things that these parents are pushing onto their children and they know the long-term effects, and that's why they're getting so outraged, because they're trying to protect an innocent life, which is a child. I mean, I don't know if she's thinking of it from that way. She kind of talked in circles a lot, so I didn't really want to address her quote-unquote apology. I don't even think it should fall under an apology. There are other topics about this family that are concerning that I didn't discuss. I just kind of wanted to get the main points and kind of maybe open up a little bit of a discussion about family vloggers and really kind of try and hone in on why people are so enticed by these family vloggers. Is it because, as I've mentioned, is it because they are soothing to watch? Is it because you're trying to learn how to parent? Is it because it's just easy content to take in? I don't know. I don't really watch family vloggers aside from these few. There's a couple of other family vloggers that I have had issue with. I might decide to make like a playlist on my channel kind of discussing these types of issues going on, if I want to call them issues, concerns that are occurring in the YouTube sphere without us providing our voice and trying to speak out against this. Change is not going to happen. Change has to happen for these children, because if their parents are going to continue to exploit them for views, exploit them for money, how are these kids going to be protected? How do we know that their mental health is being handled? Because these children, if they're old enough, they can see the views, they can see the comments, I highly doubt people are leaving hurtful comments about the children, but you never know. It could be damaging long term to what these children are being forced by their parents, who are supposed to be the ones keeping them safe and protecting them and making these choices for them. How much say do these kids actually have, especially these teenagers? I'd like to know. I would, and unfortunately, I think those are answers that we're not going to get. And if we do, we don't know if the parents are ever going to be in the background encouraging them to say certain things or holding it over their head. Hey, if you don't say this, X, Y, and Z is no longer going to be available because our way of living is no longer going to be successful. That is abusive. That for sure is abusive. You do not put your parental responsibilities onto your kids, especially to support your family financially. That is disgusting. And I hope that is not happening. I'm sure it is, and that's really sad, and that's why I want to try and bring some more awareness to this topic and to the situation. It just so happens to be that this family is the one that is being discussed about the most and has the most information circulating. It sucks for them. It does. However, poor behavior and poor parenting, which some of this does for sure fall under poor parenting. Does it mean it rises to the level of abuse or neglect? Not necessarily. Without knowing the full picture, nobody can actually say if it does or not. And that's just the truth of the matter. I know that's probably not a popular opinion, and I understand that, but that's the truth. We're taking little snips and clippets from what they are allowing to be posted, which is asinine that she would even post some of this stuff, because it is a concern, because we as viewers can see how she has put her children in unsafe and unsavory situations, but continues to do it and doesn't see an issue with it. That's a problem. That's a problem for a parent to be doing to her children. Anyways, guys, I could continue to ramble on about this because it is a bigger issue, and I am seeing that as I have joined this space as a creator in trying to advocate for children. Primarily, I was focusing on one group, but there's a bigger picture here. We need to be able to protect our innocence, the innocence of wherever you're living. We need to be able to conserve that. And if these parents aren't willing to do it, then maybe we need, as people who care, we need to be able to step in and be a voice and maybe cause change to start occurring. But anyways, guys, if you could go ahead and, like I said, leave any comments, your point of views, why you watch these channels, what keeps you going back, how you feel about this family. I would really like to have a healthy discussion down below, and maybe somebody can bring forth some information I didn't know or a different viewpoint. Anyways, guys, I appreciate it. I hope you're having a good day, time, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.